So if you went back around the clock, back 4 years, you had your product, you'd invented it, but you weren't able to raise the money you wanted, and you were committed to go out and make this product a success. From a marketing perspective, what would be kind of like the number one, I guess, way or strategy that you would use to, with the limited budget that you would use to sort of get that out there as a first step?
For sure. The bootstrapping in our industry, I think, is relatively easy. If you have a product you can afford to at least have some of. For this product specifically, I would have probably started with a tight community like CrossFit, something that's super passionate, and a community where you can easily connect with people. They're very, very kind. They're very, very open. But CrossFit, as well as a market, once they adopt the product, everybody adopts it, right? And I would go to every CrossFit gym. I would go once a week to every major gym in whatever city I was in, and I would set up a little stand. I would sell socks. I would explain them. I would make friends with the instructors. I would ask them to wear them. I would do all of that's what builds a brand anyway. Even with money raised, that's still what we do, is like the boots on the ground approach. Yeah. But that is far more effective than a lot of people realize. And paid ads is great, right? Doing all of the partnerships, doing all sorts of other strategies, getting distribution is great. But if you don't put in the work to be a part of the community, they can smell that a mile away when they see your brand, because you're not authentic. You're not core to the community.
Yeah, I think that's a really wonderful lesson. Maybe we'll even create a clip on that, because we've had a number of products over the years and tried different ways to promote them. We've been going 22 years now, and I think you're right. The times where you go out, you speak to customers, you give them the first prototype, they give you feedback, you make some changes, you go back to them. And as difficult and as painful as it is, sometimes it's easier just to, okay, let's get some money and pay someone to promote it. You put a big ad in everywhere. But I think you're right. It takes a lot of effort and personal effort from people that, like yourself, at running the company, that I think they like to hear from, as opposed to kind of subbing it out and get some school leaver to go and do that. I think you're right. It's so underdone now. You don't really see that happening a lot.
Yeah.
But I agree with what you're saying. Extremely powerful if you can pull that off.
Yeah, absolutely. And if it's a product that is actually valuable to that community, you'll know immediately too, right? If you're selling something that maybe isn't going to resonate, it's a lot cheaper to actually get down there and figure it out quickly, as opposed to put a lot of money behind a marketing budget and find it out the expensive way.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, make a lot of products. I think I've done all of those, made all those mistakes over the years. So it's quite nice to hear what you're saying. Is like, do what you do when you started, when you didn't have any money, and you won't go too far wrong. So what are some of the key lessons, I suppose, that you've learned since starting the business that you didn't anticipate, or challenges, lessons via challenges that you didn't anticipate were likely to come in front of you?
So the biggest thing for me was just being able to separate money from really the core of what business building and brand building is, which is a very emotional thing that speaks to a deeper, more animalistic nature, whereas money is a more superficial, measurable thing. And in our society, we have kind of a few things that we do. One, we rationalize business and we create these structures of thought. So you have your email marketing, you have your agencies, you have your paid ads, and all of these are so measured, and there's these clear strategies that are built out. And a lot of people think that being able to market, for example, would be checking all the boxes of, okay, I have a paid ad strategy, I have an email strategy, I have a social strategy. But really, it's missing the point of what's really going on at the core, which is that we're taking a whole lot of people, orienting them a certain way in terms of how they make their lifestyle decisions. That is a much more carnal thing, and it requires you to separate the financial from really what your intuition is and gut is telling you about how people work and how people think. And for me, when I got into entrepreneurship, there were a lot of paths I could have taken, but I got into it because I wanted to really have no ceiling on my growth as an individual. And it's been a blessing because I have had so many failures, mistakes, and learnings along the way that it has really taught me to connect deeper with myself as an individual, understand who I am and how I work, and through deeper introspection and reflection and understanding how you make decisions and really what makes you tick, getting through your programming, you start to really understand how to speak to other people. and it's the same language, but it sounds completely different. The way that you speak about a product or a brand, once you start to really understand what resonates with you at a deep level.
That's interesting. So I get the personal attachment. I'll come back to that in a minute in terms of, your lessons with money, but how do you do that from a business? Because I guess at some point, the numbers have to add up and you've got bills to pay and you have to hit sales targets. So how do you, in terms of your mind as a leader of the business, how do you think about that in terms of your key objectives without sort of allowing the money to, which is a central part of it, but distort what you've just mentioned there?
For sure. I think, from the way I approach it from a day-to-day standpoint, it's always about how can we be iterative about this, right? And the way you start, we started saying, hey, these socks have XYZ benefits. And now it's, these socks help you move better. That's totally different because we went from explaining something technical and something that the rational mind would receive to something that's more engaging, more of a hook, and more of an emotional connection, because move better, live better, run faster, jump higher, carry more weight, give more piggyback rides to your kid, whatever that might be, right? If you can anchor it to something that's actually meaningful to the individual and what benefit they'll actually take away from it, then you have their attention, you could explain. So if I say, to a 55-year-old man, hey, you just had a grandkid, you probably have some sore ankles right now, sore feet from, you're aging, it's hurting. And if you buy these socks, you're going to be able to play with your kids longer every day. You're going to be able to play with your grandkid when they're 10, when they're 15, when they're 20, and still be active because you wear these socks. And you're going to be able to live a full life with your family and not have to stay at home because your feet hurt, and not have to feel injured, and not have to feel like you're aging out of really being able to live. That's an incredible benefit you can provide to somebody. And to be able to make somebody feel and understand that that's really what the product is doing is not a technical thing, and it's not related to money. And from a financial standpoint, I think to your point just earlier, it's more of a personal issue than it is a business issue, because in the business you're really focused on how do we communicate this emotion, right? The money follows that because the money is a part of the transaction to be able to get to that outcome. But the person's kind of in status A and they want to be in status B, and you show them how they bridge that gap.
So the primary goal really in what you've said, so I can just get my head around it, is your mission is like, look, if I get these on your feet, this is, I'm excited about what that can do for a lot of people, and being successful at that goal, as an example, will deliver as a secondary result, will deliver what the investment and the business needs to survive and to continue to do that more successfully. Is that
100%? And there's definitely things you need to be able to do in a sophisticated way to make money, right? You can't have bad distribution. You can't have bad operations. There's fundamentals to business that need to exist. But I usually find that, especially for most people who are starting a business or trying to get something off the ground, it's not practical to worry about the systematic side of business. It's more practical to focus on the core of what you're doing. And then I feel that the systematic side kind of reveals itself to you. But if you approach it in an overly structured way where you already have preset concepts of here's kind of the rough outline of a marketing department, then you're constrained to think in that way. And one of my big beefs with society these days is we have this belief that if you don't have data and if it's not measurable, then it's not valid. And that could not be further from the truth. And it leads us to create strategies that are only measurable. So already, because you want to measure the outcomes so much, you've limited your thinking to only tools that can be measured.